Good day. My name is Martin Schweiger and I'm a patent attorney in Singapore and also a powerlifter. Today is Thursday, the 13th of February 2025. And I take you with me on my daily walk. Which is part of my routine since more than 1 year ago. I was diagnosed with a metabolic disorder or syndrome, and I successfully managed it without any pharmaceuticals involved, no drugs and medicaments, except for selected supplements that you can buy over the counter or order online. Actually, I'm very happy about that. And yeah, I turned 60 a few weeks ago, and I think that this was a very valuable event in my life. I had an accident followed by 4 months immobility, and then finally that led to a metabolic disorder. And that helped me to discover a new aspect in life, and just at the right time, because 60th birthday marks a transition, important life period. If you read the Bible, then you can find it in Psalms 90, verse 10. It says that our life is 3 times 20 years plus 10 years on top, and I find it remarkable because people always think that in earlier times people died at young ages, and no, that's not true. What is true is, oh, so loud. What is true is that children had a much higher likelihood of dying early than adults, but once you made it into the adult age, then I don't think that there was much difference between then and today. At least if you read the old books, those that have survived for more than 1,000 years. There are very few. I recommend to read those old books, because if they survive for such a long time, definitely means that there is a content that have value to be transported into the next generation. I go inside over a car park. It is a bit more quiet, and you see a new section. That's an interesting motorbike. It's a Royal Enfield, a military version. It's a old Triumph 1-cylinder. Yeah, but they are still made in India today. Interesting. You see them often in Singapore because India is only 4 flight hours away. Oh, okay. So, what is the new life section or term or episode or that starts with 60. It's the 10 years which mark the final section of their life for many people. The Bible says in the Psalm 90:10 that if you are strong, then you get extra 10 years on top. Please read this. This is also where I'm coming from. I have the Aging Strong blog, and yeah, I also have a brand for clothing. I think I should make it alive. I filed a trademark application before COVID-19. Strong by choice. Yeah, and I believe I will. Revive it and produce gear that is helpful. There's so much gear out there that is not helpful but expensive, and you don't need much, right, for aging strong. In my last episode, the 124, I believe, I told you about very nice feature.
More trees. I heard somebody say more trees, yes. Okay, so in the early days, it was actually a plantation, and in the plantation, of course, you have a lot of trees, and this place was actually a coconut plantation. Okay, as this place progressed, people move into modern homes, don't stay in kampong anymore. They had to clear the place for land to build new homes, to build roads, and so on. And so therefore, in this picture, you won't see as many trees anymore. What else? What other difference? Somebody else? Yes. There's someone. There's a river. No, I don't really see a river. Yeah, what? Anybody else? Come on. What's the difference? Anybody else? Yes. Tell me. Yes, there are cars in this picture. Okay, so this picture is about 60 years ago, and this picture is about 100 years ago. Okay, so 100 years ago, of course, on the roads there are no cars. What we do have, however, are rickshaws. People travel from location to location using rickshaws.
Is this cute or not? School class. Teaching outside. That's interesting. I walk you through a market, a local market, wet market. Which brings me to my topic of today. No, but the German evening. I told you, this is my topic. Last week, I offered free training to someone, Candy. He is 52 years old and he feels somehow weak. And wanted to improve his life. So I told him about strength and why it is important. You see. And he got excited and he signed up for training, free training for Sunday. And then on Sunday morning, let me see. On Sunday morning or Saturday evening, I received a WhatsApp from him say, hey, I need to first become fit and only then can I start strength training. And he sent me 2 videos, YouTube, that are talking about combining cardio exercises with flexibility training, but no strength training. And this is really one of my favorite places because you get the fresh produce, meat, fish, vegetables. I guarantee if you cook from that, your health will improve within 3 months. Because I say this because it worked for me. I friendly people. I can promise you this because it worked for me. I almost don't buy any processed food. Processed, I mean something that comes with a label. And I buy the unlabeled food and cook my food myself. Then I know that there's no hidden sugar, then there's less sodium. I try to shift from sodium to potassium, at least partly. What I want to say is the following. If you want to age properly, which means that you feel young for a very long time and you don't need surgeries or pharmaceuticals, no other interventions by a medical doctor. Ultimately, if you want to have a life that is worth living, or a long life that is worth living, then there are several areas that you need to address and address them at the same time. Not advancing one and neglecting the others. You can put more emphasis on one of the areas while doing less in the others, but I believe you should address all of them. And I have, first I said 9 areas, but I would like to extend it to 10. And in my last episode I spoke about 9. Now I have identified a 10. So the first area is health, but that's a very vague term. And I would like to replace that one by a few others. And that's why there are 10, because the overarching term health is not only achieved by one measure, which means going to a doctor and doing what the doctor says. Because my impression is that the doctors very often are biased by their own pocket. They may have a mortgage, kids in school, a car to finance, a life. And ultimately who pays for that is us patients. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that they're all corrupt or that they are corrupt, but I would just want to say that this plays a role. So if a doctor has the choice of giving you a medication that achieves something and there's a second medication that achieves the same thing, then he may be biased to give you the one that gets more, washes more into his own pocket. Especially if you're covered by a health insurance. That's why I like my insurance so much, because it requires me to pay upfront and later claim from them. So the doctor wouldn't know whether I have a health insurance or not, and they would always give me options, and I select myself after understanding what they want to achieve. So area number one is health, but again, it falls into separate categories of actions, and it's all about actions here, not about the result in the first place, because we want to use our time for doing things actively when we age, and not by consuming in the first place. And you cannot easily consume health, consume something in order to achieve health. You must be active. So the first action item is to do cardiovascular training. I've always neglected that one, because if I do cardiovascular activities, then it's usually for achieving something, winning a race, for example. But cardiovascular training for the sake of cardiovascular training was never on my agenda. That changed, because I could see that cardiovascular training achieves something that I can measure. And what I can measure is that my oxygen consumption went up a lot. It's measured with a process called VO2 max. And if you bring your VO2 max up, you can measure, then your entire life will improve. So, the area number 3 is strength. I find it, I never was a bodybuilder. Some people call me bodybuilder, but it's nonsense. A bodybuilder builds a nice, good-looking body, and then, yeah, but that's all. But actually, to be very honest, I liked my fat body when I was lifting in the super heavyweight class, because having a big, strong body is really something that is useful and is impressive enough for its own. We can always discuss about aesthetics, but having a big, strong body, I think, is a goal worth achieving. When I talk about strength, it's more about, I have here weight lifting. And there's a definition for what is a good lift. And yeah, so it follows. And that makes sense to me, because as you're getting stronger, obviously, there are many advantages attached to this feature. Plus, the Bible says that you get 10 years on top, which is a quite good argument. Area number 4, nutrition. It must be tasty. And I spoke about what is a good nutrition before, right? When we went over the wet market. So, is an area. Area number 5, body flexibility. Good goal. Flexibility helps you in many ways. And it starts with putting on your own shoes. And it will also prevent you from these aches and pains. Flexibility is good because you can influence pain. Next one, body weight control. Oh, nice goal, but again, only works if you, for me, it works if I have a goal in mind. For example, reaching a weight class for competing, or if I know that with reducing my body weight, another measurement value could improve. Measurement value number 1, blood pressure. And yes, you can always lie into your own pocket that a high, what we call a high blood pressure is not a high blood pressure. But less body weight would bring that down, and then there's lots of statistical data that says that low blood pressure is correlated with longevity. My next item will surprise you. It's social contacts. There's a study made in Boston, I believe it, MIT, but I'm not sure. And it studied a few thousand of people, starting from their childhood, from different backgrounds, and one of the most important factors for the longevity and happiness in life was that they had a social life. Social contacts, family, friends. And I again refer to the Bible. There's a story where I believe Peter or Paul, one of the two, went to a funeral of a widow. No children. That's what he knew. Was it a widow? No. Maybe a bachelor? No, you wouldn't call a bachelor female. Spinster? Old spinster? And he was just prepared for a very lonely event. He and maybe a neighbor or two. But he found a room full with people. And then he found out that this deceased lady had done so much for the community that even after she passed away, they were there for her, giving her the honor. I believe she had a very happy life, even without having a family. Isn't this a moving story? Next thing on my list, 3 more to go, is mental capability. It means, are you still in a state where you can make your own decisions? And I speak here as a lawyer, because that would, I would say, determine from most accurately what I mean with mental capability. So can you make sound decisions? Oops. Look at this shop. Is this nice or not? Wow. Was? So. Another one. I find that one difficult. This is the area of life number 9 that you can influence for longevity: sleep. And I have a measurement device here. This one is the overarching. I spell it O-U-R-A. It's an overarching, and it measures sleep. And according to my knowledge, that's the best device currently on the market. And you shouldn't go for less. It costs you something like $250 US. And there's a monthly subscription, $6 US, but it's a multi-purpose measurement instrument for your health. It's very. I don't have shares in Ura, and I don't get commission. But I tell you honestly, this is worth having it. Same as a continuous blood glucose meter for detecting what is causing a spike in your blood sugar. And then avoiding all the food that would cause that spike in the blood sugar. Sleep is very important for longevity. I've found from statistical data, and this has a top priority on my list. For example, I found out that drinking or smoking a cigar before you sleep is bad for your sleep. But other things that you do before sleeping are very good for the sleep. And that brings me now to my final issue, matter in life, that is very different when you're old or aging as compared with when you were young. It's the finances. At age 60, you are more or less through with building up your finances, and you switch from building up to consuming your wealth. I will give you some insights from my own experience, and also from what I hear. And I hear a lot because I know many people who would share their insights with me. So we are through. How many minutes recorded? 30 minutes. Yeah, for an overview episode is not bad. So I cover this 9 bracket 1 extra overarching categories in my episodes. And I will continue the recording as long as I do my daily walk, which means probably a very long time. Stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Most important, my long time goal. I started this because I wanted to lose 8 kg body weight for preparing for my competition on the 22nd of February, morning 7 He's weighing in. And the good news is that from the 110.6 kg on the 18th of whatever January, 18th of January until yesterday, the 12th of February, in 25 days, I went down from 110.6 kg to 103.2 kg. Also, it's not a net body weight. I mean, you know, we have several body weights. We have a full body weight, which means that you have eaten as much as you can and drank as much as you can without peeing or going to the toilet. Then there's a glycogen, full glycogen body weight, which means your 2,000 or 3,000 calories that can be stored in glycogen in the liver and in the muscles. Is all the storages are full. You do that essentially by bringing your insulin up. And eating carbohydrates. And watering, of course, because water is essential for glycogen building. And then we have the sweat. If you are hydrated and you didn't sweat, then your blood is fully diluted with water, and also your cells, the watery parts, are saturated. That gives you at least a kg or 2 kg extra weight. And then, of course, there are the fat cells. And the fat cells store triglycerides and water. And when I talk about body weight, I would deplete all those weight sources as much as I can, and then measure. And so I work out, getting the glycogen used by the body, so that the glucose is used up. Number two, I would be in autophagy, so that the fat cells are converting their content into triglycerides and water. And then I would work out so that I sweat. And I work out for an hour or so, sometimes 2. So while the 110.6 kg were everything saturated and full, the 103.2 kg yesterday, at the end of the one water fasting day and one dry fasting day, are as close to empty body, even intestine, urine, as possible. And I don't want to show up in a competition like that, because I would be at the end of my rope, energy low. So I want to be at least, the glycogen should be filled up. That's 2 kg in my case. And also I don't want to be dehydrated. I don't want to be dehydrated. I want to be well hydrated. So yeah, I believe that's the thing. And also have something in the stomach. So I guess I need to lose about 1 kg of weight over the coming week, real weight, and that's fat cells. And that's why I try to stay in ketosis, from now onwards over the weekend, and that means getting less food ultimately. This get moving into ketosis mode and going from there. Okay, so what I do now, I'm here at my favorite Italian restaurant in Singapore, and I will get some water and probably a salad. Let's see. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.